It has been also recorded. Is it possible to reduce the this bar here to single one, so that we can also see a bit more of the screen? My name is Mehmet Karamanoglu, the head of the department for design engineering and mathematics at Middlesex, and then I'm going to try and talk a little bit about the department, its focus, and the way it operates, and how I think that we can perhaps contribute to the theme, which is empowering future innovators, and something about the engineering education that we practice at Middlesex, which is a little different to the sector in the UK. So all that will be explained in a second. So in terms of the department, I think I can confidently say that we are well equipped in terms of what we have in our labs and the current state of play. They do represent current practice in terms of what is used in industry. They're not just educational equipment, but they're industry-based equipment that we use on our undergraduate programs as well as postgraduates. So the programs are designed to replicate what happens in commercial world and in industry with support from our key partners. All the programs are accredited. That is quite key for us because we want to ensure equivalence with other programs that practice exam-based solutions, so that the program that we offer our quality level, and the quality is really established by becoming or the programs conforming to the engineering requirements stated by the Engineering Council that awards, recognized engineering awards that becomes nationally recognized and internationally recognized. So all of the programs are accredited by relevant professional bodies. It's a hands-on approach that we take in terms of curriculum. And one of the ways we do this, we involve our students in outreach activities, which we organize both locally and regionally. What sets us apart from other similar programs in the UK is that we're entirely hands-on, and assessment is done by practical means. So there are no formal end-of-year examinations, because that's not appropriate the way we deliver our curriculum and the pedagogy that we use in our classrooms. In addition, we also have weekly guest speakers from industry, and some of those are actually our own graduates from 10 plus years or more ago. So they come back and give advice to the current students about their journey. So that's the sort of the ethos of the department. So what do we want from them? How do we want our students to be? What we want our students to be is really what everybody else wants in the country, I suppose, when they offer a program. But we specifically want to encourage our students to engage with their discipline. This is key for us, that they need to be immersed in a discipline. Just it's not an add-on thing that they're doing, and their heart really should be in the subject that they study. We want them to be ambitious, curious, confident, and competent in what they do, because we want them to get their first jobs in the discipline that they studied. That is also a fundamental key for us, that we want the graduates to go into the sectors that they studied rather than do something completely different when they graduate. The way to encourage motivation and team playing is done through a number of activities I'll explain in a second, but essentially we want them to explore things, go beyond their own course that we teach, immerse themselves in the wider activities of the department as well as the university, and take some risks and try things that they have not done before. Students don't like to take risks because the fear of failing. I think that's the thing that we want to encourage them to take risks. You don't fail here, you try again, and you understand why it didn't work first time, and then address that issue. This is why we don't rely on examinations, because you have one attempt, you have let's say 4 questions to answer in 2 hours, so that I can mark in a reasonable time. We don't do that. We give students time to immerse themselves in the issue that they're dealing with that is replicated perhaps in an industry, but they need more than half an hour to address it. And if it doesn't go wrong, it doesn't go right, or as expected, they need to understand why. Try again, have the opportunity without penalizing them to try again. And they have the entire time to do it while they're studying. So that's what I mean by the risk taking and then try something that they're not. And of course, we want them to enjoy success. So we do enter into competitions at every opportunity, not just at the end of the year, but also whatever happens as part of the curriculum. So we embed those into our programs. So these are essentially three distinct things that we use to ensure that list of ambitions that we have to expect from our students. Encourage them to take part into competitions, whether they're local or national or international, for their sake. And then there's a list of those on there that we take part in every year, and they're embedded into the curriculum. Not all of those are dictated by the curriculum, but we do cover the competencies that are required for all of those competitions as part of our delivery. And it's up to the students to put themselves forward. So everyone has got the same opportunity to take part in these competitions, but they need to have the courage to put themselves forward, and we'll assist and help them along the way. And I'm very pleased to see one of our speakers today from Siemens, who can perhaps mention the connected curriculum and the opportunities that are offered to students in that area. We also organize outreach activities. So this is at not just departmental, but also faculty level that applies to all the departments. So we have our biggest event coming up next month, which is New Scientist Live. There's a STEM festival to follow in British Science Week that we have on the campus, and we also have Smash Fest activities that takes part throughout the year. But that particular one is really encouraging our students to work with deprived communities in the UK, particularly in the London area. And the last thing that we do deliberately to encourage our students to reach their goals is working with industry partners and other organizations as strategic partners rather than us buying, say, equipment from a particular company. So those are the three distinct things in terms of how we do it. And then we've got some examples of those. In terms of our collaboration with strategic partners, we have links with National Instruments, Sister Academy, Siemens, Altium, and also other strategic partners that equip our labs with equipment and links into the curriculum. Whenever we buy equipment from a particular company, we don't see ourselves as just a customer. So the provider or seller and a customer relationship doesn't work for us. We want a longer term relationship with companies that we work with, so that it becomes a partnership because we're interested in maintaining some sort of a relationship that goes beyond a customer and a seller. We want them to influence in the way that we teach, influence the way that we use equipment, and more importantly, influence the way that students have access to industry standard training material that they would normally see in industry, but it's part of their curriculum. So all of these companies or logos that are listed or shown there, we have agreements to share their training material on our undergraduate or postgraduate programs. So it also helps us to use industry standard training material that makes the transition from academia to industry seamless. So there's no difference in terms of practice and seeing equipment as well as software or training material from an undergraduate course to industry. So that's the key for us. That's why we want this strategic relationships to develop and to be longer lasting. When the I've been here a while, but one of the first things was to set up this relation back in 1996 with Festo, and that's still continuing. And then others joined the theme as we expanded our provision and embedded this kind of philosophy in our curriculum and developed those relationships. So it takes time, but it pays huge dividends to take this approach. There are other companies and organizations that we work with that embed those principles into what we do. So it isn't just about the students' training, but also policies that influences education, in higher education, particularly with Engineering Professors Council, having a specific influence on government and government policy. So there's a very good connections there in terms of feeding in who work for universities, because government always listens to bodies such as that represents the sector. The other one, if I was to single out, is Gambika. That's a trade association that represents 148 companies in the areas that we offer academic provision. So we've become, I think, one of the few universities are a member of a trade association that champions the work of industrialists. That gives us immediate access to 248 companies, small to multinationals, that represents our sector in terms of where we're seeking employment for our graduates or student graduates. And in the areas that Gambika represents is in automation, lab equipment manufacturing, and control equipment. So the programs that we offer in robotics, mechatronics, design engineering, electronics, etc., feeds directly into that sector. And now we have direct access to those companies that offer employment. It is no brainer for us to be a member of that association, but that didn't happen until about 4 years ago. So these things are evolving, but we're very conscious of that kind of partnerships that develop not just with industry, but also other wider organizations that represent us, their interests. Women Engineering Society is also another one where we're actually promoting that particular activity to influence the gendered imbalance that we have, and we have been having for decades in engineering. I think currently it's about 16% of engineers in the UK are women, which is not how it should be. But that goes back to in terms of young people choosing engineering, at what age that starts, etc. So there's a number of initiatives that this is happening, and we've set up a student body that represents the women engineers in the university and their interests, but also organize activities to become role models for local school children that they visit. I'm going to go to each one of those, but those that you can find more information about them. But we are all members of those associations, in addition to strategic industry partnerships. And that has a sustained success. So the first picture I put there is 2014. That's the UK finals for World Skills in Mechatronics and Robotics, where we have been winning consistently over the years the top place. That was the last IMEC region that we also win in terms of, this is from professional body. This is the London region qualifiers that we have actually won again. And then the story continues. Whether it's an IMEC Design Challenge or other international events like this one is a Global Design Graduate Show that one of Harry Miller from Product Design and Engineering actually won the top prize. That's last year. So the story continues and the impact is there every year. There is some successes. This one is happening this week. Michaela graduated in mechatronics last year. She put herself forward to become a competitor in the national competitions in mechatronics. And then she, not mechatronics, Industry 4 competitor, similar, but slightly different. And then she progressed into the squad and then into the Team UK. And now she's in France at the moment on day 3 of the 4-day competition to represent UK. Hopefully, at the weekend, we're going to find out the outcome of this particular competition, how well UK did, among other competitions. I think there are 14 competitions that UK is taking part at the international level. This is one. Now, what this means for our graduates is that they have this kind of opportunity to take part in national as well as international events that will single them out as the best in their sector, nationally or internationally. And this is awarded to all of our graduates as an opportunity, but they just need to reach out and take it. We do not select students for these competitions. They put themselves forward. That starts from day 1. So next week is our induction, and they'll be promoting these opportunities to new intake and then encourage them to sign up for our next event, which will be in about 3 weeks' time. The opportunities are there, and then until she'll do very well, whatever the outcome is in Lyon this week. We work with, as I said, other industry practitioners. In our discipline, it's also useful to work with practitioners are not necessarily large employers, but it's small design companies or individuals that set up their own companies, work with small organizations or universities. And they generate news because they have access to media outlets. They know people with media-friendly associations. And it is not possible for academics to reach that kind of audience. So we partner with them. Some of them we appoint as designers in residence or engineers in residence. So there's an association that builds relationships and loyalty to Middlesex. So when it comes to their businesses, they use our students to create opportunities. And Dominic Wilcox is one of those people. He's a stained glass expert and designer, sets his own company, he's got a name in the industry, and it reaches clients that we would not be able to reach. He wanted to discuss an issue of, this was a couple of years ago, driverless cars. Why should we have driverless cars? And what's the purpose of a driverless car? As a discussion topic in the media. So this one hit the newspapers. There's no much opportunity that me or one of my colleagues on the academic side will then come up with a topic that will interest a large-scale national press. This one did, because he asked us to build this vehicle for him, which was built here. It's a mini chassis, but the top has been replaced with a stained glass cover, and inside it didn't have a seat. It was used as a bed. Purely encouraging debate and discussion about the purpose of a driverless car when you have no role to play about what the car does. Other than, is it somewhere to take you, somewhere to provide you from A to B as a destination, or somewhere that you should also use as a social space or relaxation areas? We don't know what it should be. But this was a kind of debate, and that went into a tour in the UK. This was at the Science Museum for a few months, for other people to engage in the debate. And our students were involved with this. The little platform on the right side displays their name. So it's an opportunity for students to get involved with these activities that they can talk about uniquely to set them apart from other graduates in the area, in the sector. Because nobody else will have this kind of expertise that are unique, and people will remember them. So they don't want to talk about the lab report they've done. They're going to talk about that and many other things, such as these, which are quite different, that will get the attention and interest of potential people that want to employ them. Another one, Maurice Waldemar, never heard of it, electronic engineer, works exclusively with the celebrities from the music industry. there's no way that I'm going to get access to anybody famous from the music industry to come and do a project with us. I think my chances are very, very slim. He's actually known. Hussein Jalan is a very famous fashion designer. He wanted to get an attention with a new set of dresses. The dresses here are actually they've got photovoltaic panels that respond to light, flashlight. The more pictures you take of these models with a flash camera, it reacts and then they open up. The bigger the number of flashes it receives, the bigger the reaction on a catwalk. That gets an attention. Now, technically, that is not a difficult thing to do, but in terms of innovative approach to apply that kind of programming microcontrollers to drive, light reflections on a particular panel, that's not new. Okay, we all know how to do that. But applying it to this kind of setting and putting in front of the paparazzi on a catwalk will get you a lot of attention. Now, students work on these. They put on their CVs. They have pictures of being associated with that kind of activity. It's a talking point that is interesting that people will remember them. There's no way that I'm going to get access to Garibaldi. Okay, you may not be a fan of Take That, but when they did their last tour, progress tour, our students helped Morris design those jackets that they wore on stage. And those jackets are just surface mount LEDs that react to the tone of the music going on at the time. As the music changes, the light sequences changes, pre-programmed microcontrollers that we teach first years. Applications, this is where the innovation comes in terms of, I think it should be the theme of today, and hopefully throughout the day you'll see a lot of examples of how this happens. Ellie Goulding, very popular young lady these days. Back in the day, nobody knew her. But this is first song that she raised called The Lights. You can look on YouTube and you'll see how Middlesex helped create that video that generated live images of light bulbs to do that with the song in Ealing on December month, where we got round to having an arc of digital cameras capturing Ellie swinging a stick, which has got LEDs on it that were lighting up as she was swinging it in air and creating a trail of light that was captured by cameras. So the media company was not interested in computer-generated images. They wanted to capture real images that is programmed on a microcontroller to light up as you're swinging, generates writing, or images that is captured in this particular way that is superimposed onto the video. This got picked up by ITV News because it was a London university involved. So the London ITV News came here, interviewed students, suddenly big interview with Ellie Goulding and the visit to the studio or the lab that this happened and the students. That is priceless to the students involved in terms of having a national TV company coming to interview them and showing at 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock on that day on the TV with that in it. So these are the opportunities that we try and create. And then many of them, they don't always repeat, but it's something else that happens next. Depends on where we go with this. Alex, there you are. This is your, this is a Smash Fest. This is what the Smash Fest is about, encouraging deprived parts of the community who would not see education, particular higher education for themselves. So we go to them rather than them coming to campus because that community is, higher education is not for them. None of the people in their family has been to university or even campus, set a foot on campus. It's not for them. So we go to them under the badge of Smash Fest, encourage them to think about STEM education initially at that young age. So Alex is there explaining some sort of rocket mechanism. I think he did some fuels as well, but then later on, yeah. But yes, and this takes place, I think this took place during the half term in February, where we know the families are at home with their children. And it's a local event in the public park. This was in Deptford, I think. And this happens every year in different setting with a different theme that we pick that gets attention of young people. So the next one, I would invite you to attend if you have time, will be New Scientist Live, 12th to 14th of October at London Excel. That will attract about 35,000 people over 3 days. And we're there as a university representing our sector. About 130 students and staff take part. They all volunteer their time. They come for a day, maybe 2 days, or all 3 days if they're that keen, to help out promote their subject in a very practically oriented way to the wider public. And in that, they achieve skills that are important in talking about their discipline to people they don't know, having the confidence to explain things that are not going to be easy to get across. So they have to learn new skills, and these are one of the opportunities that we offer to everybody in the faculty to consider. It's not compulsory, but the faculty provides this opportunity. I mean, it's an international event, and it's not cheap. Tickets cost about £45 to get in. We don't charge for that, we just pay to be there. But the reason why we want to pay this amount of money really is for our students to have the opportunity. Also for me to shout about that this is the opportunities I give to our students, which differentiates us from the other 163 universities in the UK. They don't have it. I think there's about a dozen universities in this event. None of the presence that we have. I mean, there's about 600 square meters of footprint we have. Others will have a little cubicle, 3 meters by 3 meters. We go big in these events, and it makes a big impact. So on that note, I'm going to pause here, and then thank you for your patience, including those online.